God, it's Friday. Ooh, I forgot to take this off.
Mariah is working at her arms. Oh, God.
Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hi, Mariam.
Oh, fine, thank you. See, Mariah, you're working your arms out.
Telling you, I was supposed to take it off upstairs.
Yeah, but it's good that people would see it. You know, sometimes they see you on TV and they think you woke up like this, but they should know that there's hard work behind all this look.
How are you doing? The plans for the weekend?
Plans for the weekend. My son has been home for midterm, and then they gave him this very elaborate project to work on. And I don't know if it's right that you should give children that sort of project, knowing that in the end, they will be the parents working on it.
Right.
I hear you and talk about projects all the time, and I've been saying, oh, thank God, this doesn't happen to me, and now I found myself in the same situation. So that's what we'll
the house
doing.
just gets an office in the house. Everybody should have an office. You have the printer, the whole papers. Like you're practically doing everything the teacher will be doing.
Yes.
How are you doing, Nima?
Nima is very fine.
I like your hijab. It's beautiful.
Thank you. And thank you, Kendi, my sister-in-law, for the dress.
Nice.
Yeah, so she sends me dresses like that, or Ankara. So tomorrow, Sunday, I'll be hosting for a full day at the Bounties Charity Medical Muslima Outreach. So they're doing everything from mental health to reproductive health, everything. So we're going to be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. dealing with women and all the issues that you have.
Fantastic. Nice.
This time around, I'm not the resource person. I'll just be announcing who is coming.
Okay.
Who's moderating panel.
That's
anybody
good.
can come.
No, everybody, but you have to pre-register because it's a free event.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
nice.
happening at Alausa here
Fantastic.
at the NECA Hall.
Okay.
How you
A
doing?
good host. I like to see you.
I've hosted a few before, but this is a full day. So
I've never
it's
seen you
not
host
the one
before,
I'm-
actually. It's
like to
nice to
see
see you
you.
host.
Actually,
I'm
didn't
good, I'm
measure.
good. I'm trying to see if I can make that do 360.
Oh, when is it?
Tomorrow. It's ending
Today's the
tomorrow.
last day, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow is
Tomorrow's
the
the
last
last day.
Tomorrow is the last day, yeah. So I'm trying to see I'm trying to squeeze myself to see if I can make it, because I would really love to be there. So I can go around the different sessions they're going to have. Since I'm someone who is doing something close to what they are doing, let me have, see their ideas, see the way the children are being put together, learning and my daughter is around, so I would love her to
and I went last
participate
year.
in all those,
Yeah,
It was
Nima
really
and I
worth
went
it.
last year.
It was.
Yes, it was worth it.
I'm really
I'm
thinking about
trying to
it.
squeeze time to see. I hope it works. I hope if not, I'll be home sleeping.
Mariah, how about you?
Actually, I'm happy that every Saturday I go to school.
Today.
Oh, yeah, today!
Happy birthday, Mr.
Today's my husband's birthday. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Mr. Brown. Mariah is like that.
You would have been so fired.
Oh, man. Thank you. So today's my
birthday.
husband's
Yeah, let's say a
birthday.
message.
Happy birthday
Shout
to...
out.
He's a good man. Ron is a good man. Olowori. He's a fantastic husband, supportive, loves his children, loves his family. And we went to church this morning at 5 a.m. He made sure the whole family followed him to church this morning. And he gave a profound testimony. And he honored me. And I thanked him this morning that the way he has honored me, God will honor him. Because he gave a testimony that, that made everybody feel like, okay, that God really used me in his life. And I thank God, and I was really appreciative. I mean, that touched my heart. So as you honored me today, the Lord will honor you and grant you your heart's desire.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I feel like in the
Right.
spirit already.
On that note, we're going to break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to start with The Nation. Kidnap of judge, a violation of Temple of Justice, says NBA. 108 rescued from illegal Kwara Rehab Center in The Nation. NLC warns state councils against rushing into new wage agreement. Banks, telcos feud over the USSD charges deepens. NJC tips 4 as Supreme Court justices. 8 cows struck dead on Ondo Mountain. Lawyers feud stalls Naira Marley's case. What happened to the cows again, please?
Okay, I think it's in Ondo State. So this lightning again, They were grazing with their herders on a mountain, and then lightning struck them, and 8 of them died. The 2 herders ran off. But then there's another twist to the story where some people bought the dead cows and then sold it to butchers who are now selling it to people. But the police were able to round them up.
So for now, they're not eating
cow. And this is just barely a month after the other one that killed 36 cows. So
wow,
very scary.
Really sad.
There is an African means to get cows off their state.
Let's take
That's like the picture story, the rehab center.
Yeah, so
I have to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the police in Kwara State got an intelligence report that there's this illegal rehabilitation center again in Kwara. So they raided the place and rescued 108 women and children who have been there. Most of those women and children have been there for over 5 years, and some of them were in chains. Just like the story we had before, a lot of them are sick there. They have not been treated, different ailments, and so the police has contacted the owner of the place, who says that the parents actually brought those people willingly to him for rehabilitation.
There's a recent unveiling of lots of these kinds of rehab centers, and we need
to follow age-long tradition of dealing with mental health issues this way, southwest, not only up north. You know, I kept saying, so I hope they move that trend to Osun and to Oyo.
But there's something that they said that they were talking about reuniting them with their families. So I'm like, but these are the families that put them there in the first place.
But most of these people have schizophrenia, and what they call it, they'll say they were possessed by jinns, because it's mostly Islamic. And then the people are supposed to do exorcism for them with the Quranic verses, which is wrong.
Well, the police have said that if you know of any other centers like these, please contact the nearest police station so that they can round them up like, as they've done the others.
But our government has failed us when it comes to mental health.
Moving on to the Punch. PIPPS controversy. Federal government hits ASU, says no agency must oppose payment system. Picture here, scenes from the Kincaid fire in USA. Again, lightning kills 8 cows in Ondo. Pastors come under fire for alleged state-managed miracle. Oyo Assembly passes anti-open grazing bill. MTN plans stakeholder talks over USSD dispute. Tension rises in Zaire over alleged ban on beer. Police rescue 108 from Kwara torture chamber. FG plans 10 trillion infrastructure bond, eyes pension fund. NJC recommends 4 new Supreme Court justices and others. Okay, lots of stories. Let's start with the
human interest.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The story.
I don't have it. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I didn't. Okay,
we're doing with the pastor story.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Zaria.
Yes,
no,
I have the Zaria story. So there's a new bill in Kaduna State to ban the sale and consumption of alcohol.
Right.
And this happened, so they had a public hearing in Sabongeri. Sabongeri is the area for non-indigens. And so their lawyers spoke up to say that the local government only has a right to regulate and license the sale of alcohol, but not to prohibit it. And so they are going to fight the case. So talks are still ongoing to ascertain what's going to happen.
That's like the major headline.
The major headline, we've been looking at this payroll issue between the federal government and ASU. So federal government is saying that really there's no cause for resistance to this payroll. The universities are saying that we have our peculiarities, and federal government says we're already in talks with them. We understand their peculiarities. So a university lecturer or someone in the medical institution has a primary point of employment, and then they go to other universities or other hospitals to work. But that does not mean that they must be registered on all the other institutions. So at most, they'll make sure that they make provision for special allowances for them.
Furthermore, it's important for Nigerians to understand that, listen, technology is going to be one tool we're going to use to monitor who's working, who's not, who's a ghost worker, and who we are paying salaries. Because we're talking about reduction. Recurrent expenditure is high. So for us to reduce recurrent expenditure, we must be able to know who are we paying salaries. And that's what this platform is for. This platform is an IPP, is a payroll platform. So we monitor and know everybody's registered. Every government official, a staff of the government, registered on this platform, and that's how payroll is paid. So if you're objecting to it, that means that there's something fishy. Yeah,
exactly. That's what the government is saying. It says, so far, this exercise has saved our country 250 billion.
Wow. We're paying ghost salaries because people, they don't
go to work.
They don't go to work. God bless you. Teacher, you understand these things.
They don't go to work. They don't show up.
Moving on now to, I want to take one more story. Nobody took the pastor story. Okay, let's move on. let's respect the sanctity of pastoral work. Vanguard. FG ASU lock horns over government payroll system. We talked about that already. Video shown in court portrays how gang murdered and buried 7 DSS operatives in Lagos. Sex for Marks, Kaduna Varsity suspends lecturer. Killer of Reverend Father and brother nabbed 4 years after in Ondo. Buhari applauds as Nigeria moves up 15 places in 2020 ranking. And abductors of Federal High Court judge insist on 50 million naira ransom.
So 2 stories quickly, the picture story and the DSS story.
Yeah.
So the DSS were able to establish in court with a video of the confession of the men who murdered 7 DSS operatives when they carried out a rescue operation in 2015 and how they buried them in shallow graves. 2 of them were able to escape. 9 men had gone on that rescue mission on a kidnap rescue, and they nabbed 7 of them, shot them and buried them at the place called Barracks, a creek called Barracks. And, you know, they were able to establish that in court with a video confession, neat prosecution. So we're most likely to get, a conviction on this. And, of course, the guys who did this, the court members have confessed to it, and, you know, the matter is still before the court. I'm just waiting for that. But that's a neat job. I read it. I think it's neatly done. But the picture story, it seems our ineptitude has caught up with us. So the task force, Lagos task force, the presidential tax team visited Apapa again, and in an area called Lily Pond, where they had shanties and tried to clear the woodlums and shanties there. And they did a good job, led by the Commissioner for Transportation in Lagos. And after they left, the hoodlums regrouped themselves and attacked the next team from the state task force that came, that's Egbeyemi's team. And, you know, Egbeyemi himself has confirmed that they were attacked and his men were injured. They injured them. An underage boy was shot in the move. People were killed, and the border terminal itself was set on fire. Now, failure to do when we need to do, because every time I have reported certain areas like that to government, to police officers, and nothing has happened there. So the more you fail to act quick, the more they have a larger number of people to deal with in the end. So now these people are not 1 or 2 people that you can just, stop from settling down. They have become a menace. They're a town on their own, a group on their own, and that's what has happened in Apapa. Sad, but
very sad indeed.
It could have been prevented.
Let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune now. Reps demand details of the $460 million Abuja CCTV project. Chrisland School ex-staff jailed 60 years for defiling 2-year-old. Federal government malls launch of 10 trillion naira infrastructure bond. Falana to FG. Border closure contravenes the ECOWAS African trade treaties. End it now. 1 billion naira not enough for elections in 2020. Oyo bans open rearing, grazing of cattle, approves ranching. Many Nigerian children lack access to education and health, says UNICEF. Okay, let's start with the... Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so Adeboyega Adenika was the supervisor...
Adeneko.
Adeneko. Was the supervisor of Chrisland schools in VGC, and he was allegedly defiled a 2-year-old child.
The convicted is not alleged anymore.
No, I'm building the story now, so that they will understand who I'm talking about. So now he's been found guilty, and he's been sentenced to 60 years imprisonment. The judge also said that schools should not just be schools not just be for the economic, for the economic purposes alone, but focusing on the buildings. Yes, the welfare of each child is very, very paramount. And I'm not too happy about the 60 years. Castration would have just solved this.
But this is a conviction, and we hardly get conviction on this kind of cases, because this is a minor, 2 years old. But God bless the parents for pushing this to justice. Because the moment they will stigmatize her, these parents did the right thing for their daughter.
And I also remember when this story broke, the school stood behind this man. They were saying that this can never happen in our schools. And other parents who came out and said, I have my children who've gone to this school for many, many years. And you accuse a 2-year-old. But you accuse a 2-year-old of lying to the extent that she's able to describe what happened to her. And that parents, adults did not think first that where would this child get that information if it had not happened to her?
All right, let's go. I know that the Minister of Finance was saying something about, according to when he was being interviewed in the...
So she was,
Not she, federal government, Minister Fashola.
Okay.
Was talking about the 10 trillion naira bond. He was saying that we need a 10 trillion naira infrastructure bond where we can use monies from the pension pension funds, and also Nigerians can also invest and put their money into this bond such that we have a pool of funds to help infrastructure, because according to him, there are over 500 roads currently being worked on.
Even if I agree with him, I think there should be proper education so that when they start to toll the infrastructures that, you know, we've used these monies for, people would know that without toll, they won't get their monies back. So this is investment and you have to get it back somewhere.
The major headline.
CCTV?
Yes. So the Minister for Finance, while, you know, she met with the National Assembly, she was asked about the money that was $460 million loan that we had collected.
Dollars.
$1 million.
Yes.
That's in Naira. $460 million. Yes, for CCTV cameras. And allegedly this, well, definitely the cameras are not working since they put them up. And the finance minister says she cannot give a reason why these CCTV cameras are not working, because they were installed in the FCT, so she has to find out what happened to them. But the loan is being serviced. So we would need to know.
That's the problem. So we are paying for this loan, yet the CCTV is not working.
No, it's not working. Did you see the poll?
Crazy.
And we are paying.
Anyway, let's move on.
We need to wake up.
It's laughable, but at the same time, it's not laughable. You know?
Corruption.
Daily Sun, NJC probes 8 judges. USSD charge, minister orders sanction of mobile operators. Nigeria gains 15 places as World Bank's ease of doing business ranking. Police arrest 300 kidnappers, cultists rescue 57 in Abia. And tension in Kaduna over proposed alcohol ban in Sabongari Zaria. Okay, USSD charge.
Yes, quickly. So the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, I hope I got that right, has directed the NCC to sanction mobile network operators, those who are still collecting the USSD charge. He's saying that there's no reason for it, it's not justifiable, and that's why they've decided to suspend it. And he's appealing to the general public that if you have evidence of that charge being collected from you, you can report to the NCC.
Nigeria,
So
we came up to 10.
For POS payments.
Yeah.
The last time I bought fuel,
Me
they told
too.
me 15 naira charge for
Extra.
I was shocked.
Same here.
Okay, so
that one has
15,
taken effect.
we moved off 15 places in the World Bank's ease of doing business. When this kind of stories break, it doesn't trend. we like the bad stories.
It's trending.
It's not trending now. It was trending. I mean, all over the
What
papers.
is scary is that, you know, because failure of regulation, other foreign investors do business freely, and take away whatever they make freely. If we fail to regulate, it could be
Well,
that because of government agencies failing to regulate is why we are moving up. But it could also be that, you know, that we've eased.
No. You know, there was a recent policy by the federal government on how to ensure that it's easier to start a business.
By the VP, the VP
exactly,
scheme. I think, yes, we've had that.
We need to applaud them when they do right.
But we need to see the positive impact on the citizens.
Because on paper, I can, okay, good, so we applaud them on paper, but in reality, do we feel that we are moving? How do we measure it?
More jobs,
more quality jobs, Morayo. That's the thing. Because I was going to go there. Because there's cheap labor here. We have a large population people take advantage of. Our government's duty is also to make sure we're not taking advantage of. Not be saying they can't set up business, get free labor, pay cheaply. We are not in slavery.
So those are modalities.
NLC.
That
That's where we should see.
We're happy that there's some positive news somewhere. Okay, let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Friday. Let's ease the tension a bit.
Let's relax.
We come back, we have quite a few topics. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. This matters, eh? So a video of a lady who accused, 2 ladies actually, popular singer Davido went viral. According to the ladies, he impregnated her little sister. Now, according to them, they met at a hotel, and that's where it happened. Davido has since then reacted to this video and promised to sue them for this false accusation. However, the ladies came back and said, it was just a prank now. I cannot play with you again. What's your problem? Are you Nigerian safe? You're all too much. But Davido seemed not to accept this apology.
I agree.
He's insisting that these ladies must go to jail, I think he said, must pay for this. Now, you can join the conversation. You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Should he forgive them?
No.
Or should they pay for what they did? Okay.
So two idle ladies, jobless, did not know what to do with their data, went on social media and tried to taint somebody's image. I'm not a fan of Davido's image anyway, but this is somebody who's worked for whatever image he has, and you had to jump on that to get popular and accuse him of such obscenities with the worst kind of English I've heard in a while. I don't speak English. You know that I speak more Pidgin. So when I hear bad English, I appreciate my Pidgin level that, I can speak well. This lady had the worst form of English, the worst form of accent, worst in every way, and spent data doing that. The reason I want to queue behind Davido and say sue by force, sue at all costs, is because I saw Neymar go through this, the footballer, the Brazilian footballer, who had a lady come out to say he raped her.
Yes.
She put it out there, she stood by it. If not for the CCTV in the room where Neymar was, nobody would have seen she was forcing herself on him. So if eventually he had succumbed, she would come out to say she was raped, or she would say she's pregnant, or they were dating, and then further blackmail him for things. We must stop this trend of, people just trying any way, any means, anyhow to make it. Do things right, especially when you're a girl. Especially when you're a girl. Do things right. Stop playing the victim when you think
I hear you, Nima.
You can help.
And I understand that perspective. However, these are young people. They're fooling around.
Okay.
Yes, and they've come to admit. Shouldn't we at least understand that?
See, as far as I'm concerned, the admittance was because the thing blew out of proportion. They didn't see that coming, and so they just had to find a way to save their necks. But I think we need to, as a society, live in such a way that we know that every action has its consequences. Simple. There's a law of cause and effect. I'm not a science student, but I understand what that law means, that every action will bring another reaction back to you. And so you cannot sit down in the name of pranks or whatever it is, defame somebody else, and come back tomorrow and say that you were playing, you were joking, you didn't know how to go to the movies to go and joke around, you didn't know how to go to AY show to go and joke. Do you understand? You don't play with people's lives. So we need to start, as a society, start paying attention to every action that we take, or else we are not going anywhere. It's the same thing as when you complain that the politicians are eating your money, and then they hold one of the politicians, you say, they are witch hunting.
It's our town boy.
He's our relation.
Mariam, let me come on to you. I want you to also look at it from this way, the fact that this matter has blown to this proportion, and people are already screaming, crucify them, crucify them. Don't you think they're already paying for their sins already? I mean, the fact that everybody obviously is against their actions, they're already in some way paying for this. So should Davido just let them go?
No, I don't think so. I don't agree. I don't think they're paying enough, in fact. What I want Davido to use this, what I would like for him to use this situation as is, sorry, they're the scapegoats, but we need to show people what happens when you do something like this. Yeah. We need to show you that beyond just saying, I'm sorry, because Nigerians, we have that. You do the wrong thing in traffic, you almost bash someone's car, you know you're wrong. All you have to do is, I'm sorry. And people will say, but he said sorry now. But we need to let people understand that there are consequences for your actions. Yes, and those ladies need to, maybe not for 30, because say you sue them for 30 billion, maybe not for 30 billion naira, but I would like to see them do some form of community service where everybody would see them, and they'll come on social media while they're doing what they're doing, and then make them go to schools and teach younger people what not to do on social media. You cannot come and be calling people out. I mean, there was another person that was photoshopped with another lady and made to look like he was cheating on his wife. Ew. Those are the things that young people are doing on social media. When there was no social media, we sort of knew what we couldn't say. Nima was telling me about a neighbor of hers that would go on Facebook and say things about her. but face to face, he'll call her auntie. But when he goes on social media, so we have a lot of young people who think social media means you can get away with all sorts of bad behavior. But we need to let them understand that real life can translate to social media, and you must behave better as well there.
Interesting. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. So there's this story of the boy who cried wolf. You know. So you come today and say somebody did this, and we are in an era where whether it's true or false, things escalate. We have cases of people accusing people of rape. So if tomorrow another person can sit down and, okay, maybe they are playing with this person, then let me pick on this person and just, because we're looking for clout and attention on social media, we need to know who we are. There are people coming on TV to talk about businesses that you can do as a young person, use your data to make money. Others are there trolling people and causing confusion.
Please don't overuse
they need to be punished.
No.
Let me take this call from Emmanuel. I'll come to you, Nima. Emmanuel, are you there?
Good morning, Murayo.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to the ladies in the studio.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
It's strange that all of you are blowing hot this morning, apart from Murayo. Please, calm me down.
Okay.
Young girls or women, it's just an expensive joke. I know Davido is a young man, but a great musician. He should have a large heart and find a place in his heart to forgive them.
Really?
Please, he will not get anything out of it. Even if they crucify them, what will it benefit Davido? He should find a place in his large heart.
It will benefit him.
Thank you very much.
It will be restitution. Because you asked what will it benefit him. It will deter others. It will be restitution for him. It will in some way reward his work back. You know why I say this? Is because society normally will tilt towards the women when this kind of accusations come.
Yeah.
She wants to abandon her with the baby. He did not accept pregnancy. People easily would feel for them more. And they play this card well. It's difficult that when a woman tries to get a man with pregnancy, that we ask her, what were you thinking? Most times we say, but you slept with her. So because of that, just because of that, we need to put a strong word out there, and we need scapegoats. Fortunately, they brought themselves out. Nobody went to go and dig them. They brought themselves out. Carry yourself with the dignity you want to be addressed with, and people will address you as such. If they were sitting in their father's house minding their business, using data to sell recharge cards or do something important, people will praise them if they find them. But they found them doing this, and that's what they should pay for.
Yeah.
I would love that Davido maybe wants to forgive them, but let them go through the courts first.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think going to the court.
I
don't think they should go to the court.
They can afford it.
I agree with the community service idea. I feel that it's important that
And the
we
court
see
will
it
give them
publicly, because they're already being embarrassed and disgraced publicly.
I don't understand.
Everybody
What
is seeing it.
thinking when they were doing it
publicly too.
They embarrassed him publicly.
If Davido allows this to go with
no.
a criminal defamation, they will be in more trouble. So if he does a civil suit, maybe
Let me take
what
Shil.
he'll be asking for.
Shil, thanks for calling. Are you there?
Hello?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good day, Murayo.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Shil. Davido is a good person. I'm sure that Davido is going to pardon the girl. Because Davido, for him to even sing God that woman, is going to pardon her for sure. But he's going to look for something to do to that. But he can't just forgive her because of that false accusation. I'm not sure he's going to forgive her that easy. But I'm sure he's going to forgive Davido. He's going to forgive her.
Let's take some.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask Nima something? I know that sometimes when you commit a crime, the person you may have committed it against would forgive you, but the state would take it.
That's if you're
Is
in
this
minor
something?
No. Sometimes the people drop charges and refuse to come as witness when the person is, and that's when the prosecution will fail. Not that the state will drop the charges. The state goes ahead with whatever
The state
case they
does not
have.
forgive.
But because the person that is accusing you, of course, is the first complainant, is the complainant as well as our first witness. If he fails to show, the case might not go through.
I think
so we will always encourage people like that not to drop.
I think if the girls show remorse properly, where they do a video apologizing properly, and maybe have an opportunity to commit themselves to some kind of work, when they do that, I think that should suffice. It shouldn't be so much about going to court. I feel that's a bit
They can also do it.
It's sledgehammer to kill an insect.
They can also do it through the court process now. So if the video files
this matter,
no, they can also do that in the
At what
response.
point, as a society, do we now start rewarding people for their work, good or bad? At what point? We're not going to change if we keep doing this. If we keep saying they are children, everybody's... I still have my mother. I'm a child. Everybody's a child here. Right. But at what point do we sit back and say, these are the boundaries, these are certain things you don't do, and if you do them, these are the consequences.
Alaji Hassan, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Ooh, sorry. So Kayode Kaka says they must, in caps, they must pay and be corrected early enough. They must not be let off. Sorry is not enough. They must stop polluting others. They are ladies who will bring up a generation of maladjusted humans. They must never go free for the sake of Nigeria.
Thank you,
Remy says they are jobless and not trying to find their life. If Davido didn't stand his ground, he would have been given a bad name.
Okay,
go on.
People must learn to face the consequences of their actions and inaction. You did a video, made it go viral just to draw attention. Gosh, what about the trauma you subjected your victim to? Let them face the music, Mbok. They are left to go scotch-free, it will breed more.
But is it that we're always looking for scapegoats all the time? You know, we're like Nigeria, we're like vultures waiting for who is the next victim.
You know, Maureen, there's another thing you have missed. This man just had a baby by his wife. Do you understand? She's in a vulnerable position. Imagine, just put yourself in that woman's shoe. Imagine seeing something like that and thinking, so this has happened to you.
This is what you were doing.
I mean, especially if he's known to have had other children, you know, and then you put this out there.
Imagine
on
what they went to Indonesia. If they were friends to Davido in some way and they carried him along this joke. So I need to train my party. Let me just use you right on your back. Like, you know, what Bobby did with his friends. They were his friends. But you pick a random successful person. Let me just look Dangote now and say I'm pregnant for him. He waka past our backyard that day. We go beat and I was pregnant for him just by the waka pass. I'm sure you will say, Nima. We go beat him. So,
unfortunately, that's how we get
on your friends.
We've heard the verdict. The ladies are saying they should be punished for what they've done. I feel they're already been punished. I think family and friends would have called them up and everybody would have been, you know, castigating them, and so we understand the position, their mindset right now. They're already traumatized for what they've done. So I feel they've suffered enough, but however others feel that maybe they haven't suffered enough. Let's go on a break. When we come back, take another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. On our next topic, the story of a mother who locked up her daughter for trying to run out of an abusive relationship was trending on social media. This has generated a lot of back and forth. Was it the right approach? Could it have been done better? What advice is best for an African parent on how to manage a child who's having issues in her own relationship? Joining us on this show is a veteran actor, Ego Boyo. Welcome to the show! It's how we're going to introduce you properly, but for now, you're just our co-host.
Yes.
So you can join the conversation on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can I please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets? We all saw this video online. This woman, the mother, obviously, a woman was coming from an abusive relationship, and she's trying to find succor with her family. But obviously, they send her back because people feel as if you shouldn't come back you shouldn't leave your husband's house because that is where you've been, and you've collected bride price, and you cannot come back to your father's house. Now, that's the African mentality. Yesterday, we had Igwe here. What's his name? Noble Igwe. And I was talking about the new Nigerian man, the new Nigerian person. What's the new Nigerian way of thinking? And I would like us to have that conversation. Is it the right approach to accept your daughter or your son back to the house? Or is it, would we continue to insist, counsel them, I would say, to stay back, albeit an abusive relationship? Let me come to the lady before I come to Egoboy on this.
I'm surprised that this is still happening, that even a mother would insist that a child stays in an abusive relationship, because this conversation has long been, we've had this for so long, and it seems that now there's almost a change of mindset. People don't even insist that you stay back in a verbally abusive relationship, talk less of someone who's going through physical abuse. I think that parents need to understand that you need to leave an open door policy, because I hear that some people tell their children when they're going off, like, you are never allowed to come back. I always find that almost it's stupid. I mean, this is your child, your treasure. You spent your whole life grooming and nurturing and building up this human being, and then you just let the person go off. When you send this person off to school, you're always checking to see that the child is well. If the child is having issues in school, you go there and stand for your child. And then when the child now goes off into marriage and someone else is maltreating and abusing your child,
it depends on how you define that.
No, because you asked for what the new Nigerian man would do, let's talk about what the old order was. Marriages weren't voluntary those days. It was about family alliances, a lot of other things. It was, oh yeah, go and sit down there and make it work. So they're talking from what what did he say yesterday? Upbringing. Somewhere, I think a caller said it was their upbringing. So they are there. That's where most parents talk from. But not when you see now that an adult walks voluntarily into a relationship. And relationships are voluntary. I like you, you like me, talk your own, and we do this thing. If it doesn't work, there's no liking again. Let everybody go their separate ways, voluntarily as well. The way we see the order of parents forcing their daughters and saying, no, don't come back, is say, make it work when they go. Nobody says go and die there. It's about you going there and seeing it work. Because there are a lot of
things. It's the interpretation of make it work that makes them stay. Because they're forcing themselves to make it work.
Yeah, no. Forcing yourself to make it work is because you're meeting a totally strange person. Right. This is not your sibling that you grew up with that you know.
Not a strange person, it's your husband.
Your husband is still a stranger.
Yeah.
You have to get used to him. Right. That's why they say make it work. Not that he will not turn you to a punching bag and you make that work. How do you make beating work? Okay, what they mean is make it work, adjust to him.
So what just played out is a product of our patriarchal society. So yes, she is a product of that society. And I want to first of all rule out the fact that probably she wasn't in a husband, because they didn't mention the father or the husband, that's the mother. So she may not have a husband, so to speak.
Okay,
and
she may, her father.
Yes.
Okay.
So she may have experienced society, you know, the way they look down on women who do not have husbands. She may have experienced that, and she doesn't want it to repeat itself. And I also want to believe that in every bad behavior, there's a good intention. Her intention may be to make sure that since my marriage did not work, that my daughter will have a marriage that works. So sit there and make it work anyhow. So she is working with what she feels is the best, is the best thing she can do. Okay. That's what I feel.
Let me come to our guest. I'd like to hear your thoughts, especially the fact that our parents who went through this, many of them survived. They'll tell you, your father did that to me. Or somebody, my neighbors used to beat his wife, and today they are 50 years on and they are okay. Some mothers will say, I'm taking you to your husband, he will train you, train her, tell her, put her well, make her a better girl. So he feels that it's his responsibility to train you, and when you do wrong, he can give a smack. So whether we like it or not, society, we've seen it happen where it seemed successful, or it seemed as if we're a product of this. Why are we so adverse to that way of that communion in today's marriages?
So the question is, because
because our families, our mothers went through it. My mother will tell you, my father, I think there was a time that they had issues, and maybe there was a back and forth. They went through it. So what's the big deal in a man slapping your face? He didn't mean it that way. You have to, as a woman, you have to know how to manage him now. Don't worry. Why are we adverse to managing our husbands?
Well, I wasn't raised that way. My mother never had that conversation with me. I never saw my parents get into it. Right. And I don't know a lot of people firsthand that had that experience. So I've never had that conversation where my mother would say such a thing. There's no way that I would condone today, just like my mother would not have condoned that, any parent saying to their child that you should go back and work at it. There's no number of excuses that you can give that justifies that kind of statement.
Thank you.
This is your child, as you said. You've raised this child. You sent that child to school, and when they were in school, you were checking up on them for even the most mundane things. And then for something this serious, this life-threatening, you would tell your child to go back? It defies explanation.
So let's go
that
back
is
to the
not
story,
a parent. Now, you're talking about whether it's our society and all of that. It happened, but it was not condoned. it was not condoned even then. It wasn't something that people all embraced. There were some people that did, but it was not. So this whole idea that, you know, hitting a woman and all of that was condoned is not. It's not. It wasn't condoned and it was not normal. And also you said that a lot of people went through it and they survived. They survived, but they didn't thrive. There's nobody that went through that in a relationship, that kind of abuse, and will tell me that they came out of it and it was fine. They were not fine.
Let me stay with you on that for a second, because families or mothers who went through that will tell you, I stayed there, I did it because of my children. And today, their children thrived. Yes, they might not have thrived, but their children thrived. They stayed in that abusive relationship so that they have the support to raise children who today are doing well.
So what is doing well? What do you consider doing well?
When successful
in what
marriage,
sense?
family.
Because we've just come through mental health awareness and all of that. So because somebody is successful in terms of maybe you see them making money and everything, and then what is that all that defines success? You know,
there could be mental.
There might be issues. Usually there are children that come out of abusive relationships. They do not emerge unscathed. There's always an effect. There's something that has affected them.
I call them damaged
goods. There's something. I wouldn't say damaged goods, but I would say that there's usually something that happens to them in their psyche. It affects them in some way. There's no way that people emerge without any, anything affecting them. It's just not normal.
3 cases that I had. So a young lady, she's sickle cell. She's always having a crisis, and her grandmother thinks that the best way is to find her a husband, and finds her the most jobless, most inept man to be with. So she, who is a sickle cell, now has to raise feeding money and school fees money for the child they have together. She reached out to me. I had to send her to praise. Another one, woman being in a marriage for almost 20 years, being battered by a man. And when we sat down to talk about it, I called him damaged. This happened in front of him. And when he tried to interfere with his parents, he gets slapped. Fast forward, he doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better. And he will say to her, you will not eat in this house. Because of what I was talking, you were talking, and you will not eat. This is a very educated woman. In fact, the career she told me, I cried when I left there. Sometimes when I take these cases and I walk home and I'm just depressed.
But see, Nima, let me pause for a second.
The psyche of a child who witnesses violence cannot be, that person is an incomplete person until he finds counseling to heal himself. Not whether or not he's the first person, just witnessing one person
Nima,
taking
I hear
it.
you, but I'd like us to put ourselves in the shoes of a disempowered or somebody who is totally illiterate, or she's not an empowered woman, a woman who has no other means of livelihood, and it's this one daughter that she has, and marries her off to one man. Unfortunately, the man is abusive, but he's their only lifeline. So putting yourself in that kind of shoes, when your daughter comes home saying, he hit me, what would you do?
Do you know what? This goes back to what Auntie Ego just said, which is this success thing. What do we define as success? What do we define as happiness? So we have, we definitely have it all muddled up, because it now shows that it's not just about how we see people in their jobs and careers, it's also how we see it in our lives, in our children's lives. So for you, what is more important I remember when I was growing up, this incident is just always in my head, long before I even understood what marriage was about. We had neighbors that were, this woman is always screaming because her husband beats her. I didn't even know that, but I just heard my mom and my auntie talking about it, and my mom said, God forbid that my child would go, it's better for my child to stay single than to go through that. I think I must have been about 8. Imagine, that's in my head forever. Do you understand? It made me understand what was more important, because I've had conversations with other girls and I hear them to be married, however that marriage is more important to them than their happiness. So we need to understand that success, happiness is not about money. It's not about being able to give you a 10 naira, 5 naira. No. People talk about getting married to a very rich man. People are talking about gilded cages. You are in a wealthy you are married to a wealthy man, but you have nothing. You are able to live in the house, drive the cars, but if they were to take you out, it would be exactly the way that you
better than being in a rat hole.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes it's
Sometimes it's better than being
Yeah, it's better to eat your
Let
gari
me-
in peace.
let me answer your
Gari in peace
question.
can be good.
You know, a mother's love for her child is something you cannot explain. You can equate it with the love God has for humanity, almost unconditional, except in some cases. And when you raise a child, a bit of you is in that child, which whether the child gets married or not, you have to love your child. It's what comes from probably breastfeeding or whatever it is, the biology. So for you to sit and see a man beat your child,
I don't get it.
and then you want that child to go back to that man's marriage, it's not necessarily because you hate that child.
Obiajulu, let
you
me
may
help
not.
you.
See now, let's
No, it's
calm
not
down.
seeing.
You
It's
may
actually
not
seeing.
know the best way to go, because the truth is we're dealing with a mindset issue here.
Yes.
Women in this patriarchal society, most of them believe that they are nothing without a man.
Yes.
That's the belief. So it will play out in how you handle those situations.
Yes.
So for instance, she may even be a local woman who believes that without a man you are nothing because of the experiences she has gone through. So the work we are doing here is to change the mindset.
Yes.
Whether you have a husband or not, you should be complete in yourself as a woman.
Murayo, let me quickly.
You should, that each individual is valuable. We should value ourselves and, of course, value our children. I agree with you that it's a mindset thing. For some people, that is their mindset. That regardless of how you're treated or whatever, you should remain there and you're successful because you have a husband. And it's not just for local women. It's, it's everywhere. A lot of people believe that. But I think that what you've said is that we must try to educate. Educate and create awareness about the fact that you cannot encourage your child to stay in that kind of environment.
No.
You cannot. You must continue to cherish that child beyond her. Once, after they leave your home, it doesn't mean that your responsibility is over. You must continue, and that's what we have to do. We just have to keep.
I can understand when you hear,
Yeah.
Mommy, Daddy are being abused. But when you see it, there's this motherly reaction you cannot help. So in this story, she saw and even aided.
Aided, yes.
It's
not all
happening.
mothers
So,
are mothers.
So no, at that point I question because once you see it happen, I know mothers whose wings will spread like that of
Immediately,
a
like
hawk
an eagle.
over their children, and that should be the normal, natural
the normal reaction, yes.
So when you are at that point where all you can think of is your stomach, you're at the lowest level of selfishness,
Yes.
and I can understand that you would push your child to that.
Yeah.
And legally, it's wrong. You are an accomplice to an assault, and I
Yes.
think the child should be willing to stake your neck since you're willing to stake theirs for your belly.
Yes.
God Judge says, Auntie Ego,
justice.
you are so on point, Jerry. I've got one word for you. Checkmate.
I love that. That was good.
Andre Sprintham says, the role of a mother in an abusive relationship is disempowering for women. I don't want my daughter to end up in an abusive relationship. That's a life totally destroyed. Sulaiman Abiodu says, if they did not accept her back with open hands, they will accept her in open caskets.
Let me pause you for a quick second, because we've seen how in the West, how families, the sanctity of the home is not upheld as much as it is in this part of the world. And the liberation we've given women where, okay, once you're having an altercation with your husband, you can step out. And we've seen that it hasn't actually been beneficial to their own society with that mode of thinking. If we want to empower our girls, how do we balance it such that we're not telling them, once you have this, once they hit you once, walk out? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Or we're saying, once you get hit once,
Yes.
you walk out?
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Yes,
and then you know what,
I want to be sure that
As
we're
a
clear, because
negotiator,
some people will tell you
I'm sure that you're
when you get
asking.
hit once, it's not
You walk
because
out.
he intended to do that.
No, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
Anybody that considers themselves an adult and you do not have the ability to use your words, which is something they say to children, use your words. You can't use your words, you have to use your hands and your fists. There's no reason to continue a conversation with that person. And that's anybody, whether it's your husband, your friend, anybody. Once the hands are involved, you're out. There's no conversation to be had. Yes.
Okay, let me take this
Even
call.
words, sef, you can
Hello,
walk
thanks
out.
for calling. Are you
Even
there?
words, you should walk out.
You can walk
Hello,
out.
are you there? Thanks for
Hearing
calling.
something hot saying.
Hello? You can't hear. Yes, go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Could you speak louder? We can't hear you. Okay.
He's watching
So
the TV.
I have been in a position where I've used my words wrongly at my husband, and I saw him go into a room and lock the door. He walked away. And forever, I've deeply appreciated that fact, and I've cautioned my tongue since then.
Yes.
So it's strength itself that, you know, the tongue is hurtful, and that somebody understands that you know, you should control that as well.
Yes.
It's not all the time when you can lift your feet. I couldn't have lifted the feet at this person.
No, I want to rephrase. I'll come to you. I want to rephrase what I was trying to say. I know some people that maybe they had an altercation with their spouse, and he hit. I think it was some woman I met many years ago. Her husband hit her, and she left the house. She was angry. She came back. They talked about it. They resolved it, and it never happened again. And today they're still married.
Okay.
Now, if we're telling young women out there that once you get a hit, you walk out, I'm saying, is that the right counsel? Because there's sometimes a man makes a mistake and raises the hand. In that kind of situation, how do we manage it? Because I don't want us to make it as though the moment somebody hits you, the marriage is ended. Is that what we're communicating to our viewers?
When we talk about when people are dating, we say to them, watch for the red flag. Yeah, watch for the signs. And so you take a step, don't end up being married to that person. Then when someone gets married and the person sees the sign, well, what are we telling the person? That wait until the
see
sign,
maybe if he does it again.
You know,
if he
let's
does
see,
it again,
if
then
he
we'll know
slaps
it's
you,
for
not
real.
just see if a tooth falls out until that foot,
Or one eye goes blind or something.
No, wait.
Let's not misunderstand it. So you step out, that's the first reaction. Step out so he gets help if the marriage must continue. Don't stay with a person that is, of course, like I said, damaged, which you call abusive, and you say you want to work it out. Some women make the mistake of saying, he will come back and beg me. And I've seen someone who spent her life almost to death serving someone while they were dating. When he slaps her and he comes with a flower and kneel down and does Telemundo, she goes back. So that's not the kind of thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
You need to go to...
Yakuba, are you there? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
And every morning to you for you always have a fantastic girls every time you do your fit program. I really love your guest. And then he has said it all. I would like to talk about the two topics, and then I will make it snappy. First and foremost, Boyo, you talk about that Davido she will be able to drop charges. I don't agree with you. The example is this. One Mr. Frank and Mr. Catch on Onigi make a statement concerning our past president one time ago on social media. And then we got to know it's a fake news. And then Pandemic come out and then they say that I apologize. And then he dies like that. And then the people say first thing, we almost believe that it is true. So Davido should not drop the charges. He should take it up. Those guys should be paid for what they did. So concerning this very particular topic, Boyo, you cite one example that some people made their daughter as a source of income because he married to a rich man. And then she got beat there, and then she come back home that this man beat me, and then the woman says, go back, because that is source of their income. So, Maria, my question to you now is this. What about in the process of God beating every time, and then the same daughter got killed? I think the source of income is off from there. So, for me, a man that beats a wife, a man that beats his wife, brother, is an animal. You have not to lay your hand on your woman. It's your animal. Because one thing that you should never lay your hand on your woman. If you use a force.
There are these tweets, just to give a little different perspective. Yeah. So Mr. Adebayo says we should not make abuse a one-sided issue. Abuse is in both ways, and we have to speak about it no matter who is affected. Men normally suffer from emotional abuse rather than physical abuse, which most females suffer from. If you emotionally abuse your spouse, and you're crying foul when he becomes physical, then you are the problem. Emotional abuse kills internally and burns to the extent of getting physical. Abuse, no matter what it is destructive.
We're going to make emotional abuse to husbands a topic because we need to sit down and define it. Because women don't sometimes know when they're emotionally abusing their spouses. But go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, I like to solve my problems from the root cause. And I know that it takes strength for a woman to stand up and leave an abusive relationship. So my teaching will be more on letting women build their self-esteem, letting women love themselves from the inside. If you love yourself well, you will not, nobody needs to advise you to pack your bags and go when the relationship goes south, you will know in yourself that because of the love I have for myself, I cannot degrade myself to stay in this relationship. So if we handle that bit of encouraging women to work on their self-esteem, to love themselves, to know that they are enough in themselves, not to define success by staying with a man, but have success for themselves, it will solve most of this problem. I have spoken to women who are in an abusive relationship in the course of my counseling, and the thing is, they know what to do, but they do not have the willpower to do it. So we should be looking more into empowering them to be able to stand up for themselves.
I'd love that we have more NGOs helping women who have to maintain children. Because the moment there's a child involved, the woman is confused. Number one, some men will take your child and make you beg to see that child. So you'll be going up and down, one auntie will be keeping the child for him while you're begging for that child. And some women will come back just to have access to their child.
Yeah, and I would like to also add the part of where our churches and our mosques come into play here. So Nigerian society, we know a lot of people either are Christians or Muslims. We see our pastors or our imams as the go-to person. I think that we should make sure that our churches are getting the knowledge, the information on how to deal with issues like this. Stop forcing women to stay in abusive relationships. Find things for them to do. Find ways to empower them so that it's easy to live.
Because a lot of women that are going through this, and I really want us to put ourselves in the shoes of women that go through this. What comes to mind is, where will I start from? Your life is dependent. Yes, I get you if you're empowered. Yes, it might be a different story. But a lot of women in this situation are not empowered. They don't know where to start from. They have 4 children. And they feel that, listen, this man is capable of taking care of his children. Even if you don't care for me or take care of me, at least your children will be okay. And they choose to stay there. What do we tell this kind of women? How do we manage it?
Yeah, I think that our society definitely needs to do a lot more to help women in these sorts of situations. As you said, NGOs, we have to have those sorts of, either centers or where people can go for support, psychologists, therapists, even very practical, knowledgeable people that are there that can teach you, maybe skills, help you acquire skills, maybe develop the skills you already have, give you networking opportunities, people to meet, to maybe start your business all over, get back into the workforce, find a way to support yourself. There's not enough of that. But I think that, first of all, we as families first, you have to look at, because most people that are experiencing this sort of abuse have families.
Yes.
And I mean extended families.
Yes.
So we need to look at our sisters, our cousins, our daughters, and look at what is really going on. Don't turn a blind eye or a deaf ear when you know that something is happening. Because a lot of times you can tell when somebody is deeply unhappy. We need to ask those questions. How are you doing? First of all, because not all the time do you know straight off that it is. And people don't say, because as you said, she's thinking, if I do say and I leave, what would I do with this, what, that, So sometimes ask first and then see if you can help.
They are crying in Banana Island. They're crying in a limousine. They're crying.
Everybody cries. People cry everywhere.
So the point I'm trying to make is that
crying in no shade.
People will tell them, listen, at least you have a house. At least you have a car. Manage. Because there was somebody, I know somebody that had 4 wives. One of his wives was my mom's friend. And they were having issues in their marriage. And her friends would tell her, listen, at least your children you have a whole house to yourself. The man comes to you once a week. During that time, he beats you, but at least find a way to manage it. But at least because you have a whole house, your children are schooling abroad, they're okay. So what is your problem, Gangana?
Child beating.
Well, I mean, in that case, you still have to think about what it is you want to do. You have to consider yourself, this whole individual, this whole human being. Am I going to stay here and be beaten into an early grave? Or do I really want to leave this situation? And then start taking proactive steps to do that. Start looking around, questioning, asking people, finding out, do you have lawyer friends? We have so many lawyers. What do you think? Don't say it's me. Say, okay, I have this friend and is going through this. Is there anything that can happen? Talk to people like that. So you don't hear this sort of ridiculous statements.
I think it's one thing you need to find out. I also feel that this conversation you're having, it seems a bit dated, though. I don't think these are the sort of conversations people have now.
People are having today.
No,
it's a mix. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. You're right. Some people are definitely not having those because they know what the resources are. They know what is available, and they go out and they start the process. But there are a lot more people, you'll be so surprised.
Educated people.
Exactly. That are still stuck
Confused
there
too.
thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And then, you know, our society, as you said, and yeah, we were like, oh, you must leave. But I know that our society does say to women, what are your qualifications in terms of marriage and, you know, all of that. So people do marriage, exactly. Marriage, and then if they're children, yes, you're fully successful and qualified. So people do think about that. When they want to leave, they're like, okay, now if I leave, yes, he's doing, you don't start weighing the pros and the cons. Yes, he hates me, but this, and, you know, people make excuses. But I have this. So you're right. A lot of times now, people are like, look, this is the situation, I'm out. There are these resources, I'm going to tap into them, I can do this, do this. But a lot more people are actually not.
There's also the possibility of two things happening. Why I always insist, when one person in the marriage has to deal with temperament, that person should go seek counseling. Help yourself to be a better partner. Reason is because anything can happen. There's a reason why those days they used to make women drink dead body water. Because they were suspected for having reacted to an abusive relationship. They'll be like, nobody can take this, maybe you poisoned him. Some people always think something is wrong. So there's also the possibility of her actually poisoning him. I've said to someone once, I said, I can't take this. If my husband never did, I would just poison him. So some women would have to actually get there. And the man can actually kill her while beating her. So we cannot allow abuse get to that point where we lose a life partner. If you're staying for the children, and what if you die?
The children will be fine.
The children will suffer eventually. They will suffer.
They will survive.
No, if you think they will suffer, when you die, they will actually suffer more. So some women die, leave their daughters, and they get abused by their fathers further. So better stay out of the relationship, no matter what the society is saying, no matter how difficult it is. Find a way to make it work. Take your kids and make it work even. We have like this story. She made it work. Look at her children today, graduates and doing well in the abroad. You know, recently, make it work and happen.
We have to round up, but let me...
recently I watched this American actor, this very big, beefy guy that takes, that does roles like a bodyguard and things like that. And he was talking about the abuse his mother suffered when they were growing up. He said every night when the father would beat his mom, she would come and say to them, let's pack our bags and go. And they are thinking, finally we're leaving. She says she did that every day until he killed her. He says, so he now became the sort of man, he grew up thinking he would never be like his father, but he grew up to become like his father because that was all that he knew. So he had to retrace his steps and learn again how to be a proper father. So that success we're talking about,
of children, there's no way they'll escape.
Mothers, okay, on a final note, I'd like you to advise mothers in this situation where their daughters come home crying that I'm being abused. What do they do as a roundup? What should the mother do?
Take your child back, because that is what I would do. There's no question even. Take your child back, sit them down, listen to what the issues are.
Reconcile them at some...
Why? My child? No.
She's an adult.
She's my child. Regardless of how old she is, she's my child.
Always will be.
That is it. So that's my first responsibility, that child. So I will hold my child, take her back and listen, and then we'll now plot whether it's worth considering therapy for this person or not. But my first responsibility is my child, my daughter, or my son. We've just talked about that.
On that note, I think we can wrap up on that. When we come back, but the issue of emotional blackmail and emotional abuse by women to their husbands is important. We're not going to underestimate that conversation. So what we're going to do is going to pick a day and iron it out properly so that we can deal with this issue of emotional abuse. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Boyo is a Nigerian actor and movie producer who is popular for her role in the late 80s soap Checkmate. She has featured in different movies and won different awards at different stages of her career. Welcome with us again, Boyo.
Thank you.
Good to have you again.
Thank you.
So we know you're working hard recently, and I know that you're working on a movie, or in fact, the movie is out.
Yes,
Tell us about
it. Done. Yeah, so the film is called The Ghost and the House of Truth, and it is premiering on the 15th of November here in Lagos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had premiered in New York. World premiere was in New York at the Urban World Film Festival, where we won Best Narrative Feature.
Oh,
Nice.
So yes, I'm very happy about that. And then now we're premiering in Nigeria on the 15th of November. And it's a very Nigerian story. But although it's a very Nigerian story, it's actually a story that would resonate with a lot of people because it's a situation that can happen anywhere. It is the story of a mother, a single mother, whose only child is missing. And in this city of Lagos, city of millions, she then has to find her child. So she goes, you know, what is the route when that happens? You go to the police.
An action movie?
It is more drama. There's some action scenes, but it's more a drama. Just, you know, a woman looking for her child. You know, the anguish of a mother.
Range of
Did
emotions.
she go to Baba to find out?
Is it here you want to watch?
No, no.
TTT, there's not like that.
No,
It's not
nothing like that. She went the proper route, which is to the police to report, and she was lucky because the police woman who she met was willing to take this case on. She decided, look, I will find this child because she herself was pregnant. So there's that empathy, apart from just being a, you know, a human being with empathy, the fact that she's also pregnant also, you know, stirs up something within her. So it's that story of...
that would be interesting to watch because most Nigerian movies, we have like just two emotions that we work with, anger and excitement, you know. So I would like to see how the actors, you know, show the different range of emotions and
all that anguish, the fear, the uncertainty, you know. Yes.
I've missed you on the screen, and I would like to know if you acted on this one.
No, I
or
didn't.
Production again.
Production, which is my love.
Why now?
I love production. I love being a producer.
I would have loved to, because as you were
well.
describing the role of the mother, and I was just seeing you. That must be you. I would have loved to see her, because I really missed that. I missed it from Checkmate. I would have loved to see.
wanted to be actors because of you. I mean, we'll come back from school and watch Checkmate, and we're waiting for Peggy. And what will Mofesi do?
Nice, yes. Well, this time, not this time, but...
Was there a reason why you premiered in the US first for Nigeria?
Well, it was a festival.
Oh,
So
right.
we finished the film and we wanted to have the opportunity to go to different festivals. So that was one of the reasons.
So go ahead.
Yeah, you're usually not in a hurry to churn out movies like most producers. So why do you take your time to? It takes you a while, but then you come up with something really. Why do you have to wait that long? Well, what's the process for you?
I mean, I think the process for me is usually that I get offered a script, or I find a script, or someone you know, writes a script for me, and just the process of developing it. Just come into it with the right frame, not even the frame of mind, but the right idea in terms of what are we trying to say with this? What are we trying to achieve? What do we want to do with this? The right actors being available, just the right everything. And of course, the finances, which is a big thing for us in the industry, looking for the right funding for our projects.
Are you having any challenges with the new Nollywood, the young people there, or the new guys on the block? You know, there's always that feeling that you're the veterans, but these new guys, people that complain that some of them are not professional, some of them they just happen on the job. What are your views on the new Nollywood?
I mean, I don't know, the new, the old is just for me Nollywood. I am somebody that has had the opportunity to be in this industry for this length of time, and in all the years I've been there, there have been different people coming in. And one thing I've always been glad about is that from some of them, I have learned. You know, you learn from people. So I've learned from some people, and then, of course, some people have just come in. I have had good experiences with the younger people that have come into the industry, and I've seen some people have produced great work. So I haven't got a problem with it. I do have a problem with the fact that because of a lack of structure within the industry, people are able to just come in and out as they please without any sort of frame. You know, there has to be, like, you can't just pop out from anywhere and decide you want to be a lawyer and start practicing, for instance, or a pilot. You know, there's certain processes you must go through. You must go through law school. Even if you trained as a lawyer anywhere else in the world, you must go through law school. So I'm not necessarily saying we have to have a, film school or production school that you go through, but there has to be some
form of training,
some professional sort of
that would only be possible
of course,
if you were one body.
If it is
requirement.
Yes.
There has to be some baseline requirement that you fulfill.
It will be possible if you were one body.
Yes.
But there's so much division amongst, actors. There's the Yoruba actor, there's the Igbo one, that's already within the English one, there's the guild of whatever, there's another guild. There's so much division, and it worries me sometimes when actresses go back and forth at each other, and they have caucuses. So many division. How do you then bring together a body and have a code of conduct or some ethics to guide?
By saying to everybody, we have to do it. For our industry to succeed and continue to thrive, that's a big word for me today, to thrive, is that we must come together as a unit of some sort. I don't have any problem with multiple guilds. As far as the guilds have direction, they have a focus, there's a mission, and there's a vision. If we're just coming together to sit together in one area, have drinks and chat about different films without any sort of, then what does that do? The whole idea of any guild or any association is to strengthen the profession. Is also to protect the interests and the rights of the practitioners within that, and to be able to give us the opportunity to take advantage of any advances, any people coming in to maybe do productions with us, anything that government is offering, and even to present a unified, structured face. Front or face or front to government, to anybody that is interested in working with us. So we have to do it. You said there's so many, yes, but they're guilds. So there's an actors guild, there's a directors guild, there's a producers guild, directors. Wow. It's for all of them to come up with their own code of conduct, everything. I'm in the producers guild, and we do. But it has to be strengthened, and then we have to say that if you come into this industry, you have to go through these processes. I strongly believe that. And I know that a lot of young people who are coming into the industry and doing great things don't necessarily believe that, because they feel that, and I think the reason they don't necessarily believe that is because they see that the ones that exist are not working to capacity. So they're not working as they should.
So there's this thing that it's happening recently, and you just mentioned you premiere abroad for different festivals. Is there a reason why it is important now to do that? And I would like to also see Hollywood movies sort of premiere here. So why do we need to do that? And what do you think about the future? Is this something we would like to have festivals where they bring their own movies here as well?
I mean, that would be up to them. In our own case, my film before this one was premiered it's actually premiered abroad. No, I was going to say premiered in Nigeria. But the thing is, the reason when you make a film, you are the one that determines exactly what you want to do with the film, which is why I started with, you have a plan as to how you want to proceed. When we made those films, we made films that would work brilliantly with festivals. A lot of the festivals are abroad. That's the thing. The premiere here is with a festival. We're the closing film of a festival, a Nigerian festival. So, I mean, festivals are important if that is the kind of film that you have made. There are films that will go straight to regular premiere and then straight to the cinema. We are going the different... We have festivals here, and people do premiere here as well. So it's a mixed bag. It's a decision that you have to make. Yes.
How have you maintained your beauty?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Like you're glowing. You're black, your skin. You're black, you're not cracking.
Oh, wow. Nice.
You have decided not to change your color.
Oh, good. Yes.
What happened?
Nothing. I just love myself as I am.
Any beauty routine?
I don't know. Beauty routine. That's a long one. Mariah is already like, okay, what are we going to do? We'll take it off.
I'd like you to just remind us when it's premiering so we can look
so The Ghost and the House of Truth premieres on the 15th of November, and it's in cinemas from the 22nd.
Okay. Yes. So we'll definitely go support you.
Yes, great. Look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, that's all we can take on the show. That's a wrap. We've had a fantastic week so far. Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.